life who work on the national level in these battles in all the different states in which they have been introduced. Never in the history of the United States, our federal constitution, never in the history of any state constitution, including Florida's, has a right to abortion been introduced, considered, asserted, even in a scholarly article, much less in a ballot initiative. Why all of a sudden now? Because those who are arguing for an unrestricted right to abortion, which, by the way, the Supreme Court, even in Roe v. Wade, rejected the idea that it is an unrestricted right, rejected the idea that there could be no limits on the right to abortion. Just read Roe v. Wade. And the reason that abortion is different from, as another question was raising, an appendectomy, a reason that makes this particular medical procedure unique is that there are two lives involved. And the American people have been engaged and continue to be engaged in a process of trying to figure out how the rights of these two separate lives are supposed to interact, and how the government is supposed to come up with policies that in fact give the requisite respect to both of these lives. Those who argue for an unrestricted right to abortion want to try to solve the abortion debate by just eliminating one side of the debate. We're talking about this as if it's just a matter of women's health care. We're all in favor of women's health care, freedom, and rights. But when you consider that there are two lives involved, you've got to weigh both lives. The Supreme Court wisely said in the Dobbs decision that it is beyond their capacity as 9 justices to resolve this complex issue for the American people. And so they returned the issue to the people and their elected representatives. What we're seeing in an effort like this to place into the Constitution a right that has never been acknowledged before, again, not only in the Florida Constitution, but in all the other 49 states as well, is an effort to bypass that painful, meticulous process by which legislation is worked out. Legislation is a much harder process because it involves witnesses, it involves hearings, it involves evidence. A vote like this in November, if this were on the ballot, is just soundbite voting. Somebody hears, oh, a right to reproductive freedom, of course I'm in favor of that, and they vote. The reason this hearing is being held today is that we want clarity. Nobody is saying you can't have a ballot initiative on the ballot in November. Nobody's saying, all we're saying is, if you have one, tell the voters clearly what they're choosing. We oversee the Silent No More campaign, where those who have had abortions speak out about their experience. Brothers and sisters, look at their testimonies at abortiontestimonies.com, and you'll find woman after woman after woman realizing years or decades after her abortion that she wasn't told basic facts about that other life inside her or about how the abortion would devastate her. And all we're saying is, you work this out through the legislative process, and you're going to have provisions that say, for example, what many pro-choice people find very reasonable: if you want to give the woman the choice, let it be an informed choice. Tell her what she's choosing. But if we were to try, after a measure like this, to say we want to have a law that says people can get information about abortion and then wait for a day before they make their decision, you can't do it, because you can't delay the abortion. There are things here that people do not realize are going to unfold if such a measure passes, and because of the inherent ambiguities and vagaries in this language, all we are trying to say today is have the integrity and honesty to tell the voters of Florida what exactly they are voting in. My final point is simply this: the other side will never describe what they defend. Never. I want to hear one single person on the other side of this debate give me, from the medical textbook on how abortions are done, a description of the procedure. They won't, because if you open up a medical textbook on how abortions are done, you're going to read words like dismemberment and decapitation. The people of Florida, the people of America, are not going to go into a voting booth and say, yes, I want to dismember and decapitate babies. But friends, that's the reality of what an abortion is. If we're going to have a debate in this country, and we obviously do have one, can we at least be honest about it? That's what the arguments here at this court today are all about. Thank you.
We also have today,